Hi, good afternoon, guys. Good evening, actually. Are you guys able to see me and hear me clearly? If so, please type yes. Very good. We will wait for 2 more minutes while students are trying to join in. We will start in 2 minutes from now, okay? Starting in 1 minute from now. All right, let's start, guys. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our game changing webinar series for SBL. This is Hasan Dossani in front of you. My voice is echoing. Okay, let me change my position. Just give me 1 minute. Some students are saying my voice is echoing. So, I also felt the same thing. Let me just Uh, see if I can change my position. All right. So I think this should be better now. Is my voice okay now? Right. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining today's webinar. Today is day number 1 of our SBL webinar. So basically, it's a 2-day webinar. Today will be day number 1, and tomorrow will be day number 2. So it's a big thing what we will be going to cover. So today, which is day number 1, we will just talk about a quick introduction to SBL. But the most important thing is I will teach you all the formats which can be tested in your exam. Then I will teach you all the professional skills, and the most important segment for today, I will teach you all the exam techniques so that when we are solving the past papers, we can apply all these exam techniques so that we get better and better as we practice more. And then tomorrow we will start with a discussion on the prize winning students. I will invite 1 or 2 high scoring students in tomorrow's session so that we can understand what was their study plan, what was their approach, and why they scored such high marks. We will talk about the latest technical articles. We will solve one question tomorrow so that you understand how to draft. Then I will share the list of important topics for your exam. And finally, I will share the study plan for the last 4 weeks. So a lot of cover between today and tomorrow. Right. How to ask questions. So today is a big group. And today, other than my paid students, uh, there are a lot of self-study students as well for today and tomorrow so that they can benefit from these sessions. So because it's a big group today, the only way you can ask question is you need to type your question in the chat box. I will not be able to take verbal questions like I do in the live classes. You will, for today and tomorrow, you can only type in the chat box. So please don't raise your hand. But the important thing is your question should relate to the topic under discussion. So whatever topic or slide I'm discussing, I will just take questions on that topic because I cannot take a question which is not relevant to that slide. For all general type of questions, I will take it at the end of the webinar. Okay. So please, guys, you need to maintain a strict discipline, especially those who are joining me for the first time. You are not aware of my style. I have zero tolerance for non-serious students. So please be very, very professional and very, very focused and serious. Now, I get a lot of this question that do we need to watch the previous webinars? So every attempt I organize these webinars. So are you supposed to watch the previous webinars? The short answer is no. If you are watching September webinar, it's more than enough. However, in every webinar, I have solved some question. So if you want to do extra drafting practice, if you want to solve extra question, then this is the list. You see, so in the last 12 webinars, I have solved 12 different kind of questions from your past paper. So you can, if you want extra practice, then you can watch the webinar and try to solve those questions on your own. Okay, so this is a list of all the topics which I have covered in my previous webinars. So these are extra questions. So please take a screenshot of this so that once you have time, you can do extra practice. Okay. Where are these webinars? Very good question. Where you can find these webinars? All my previous webinars are available on YouTube. So if you search for Hasan Dossani SBL webinar and write the name of the attempt, you will be able to find it on YouTube. Okay. There's a playlist on the YouTube. Yes. All right. Move on. Quick introduction of myself. Most of you know me, but those of you who don't know me, by profession, I'm a chartered accountant and I'm working as a CFO in an insurance company in Dubai since last 15 years. Teaching is my passion. I've been teaching for last 25 years, multiple nationwide and global prize winners. But the most important thing is my WhatsApp number. This is my personal WhatsApp number. In case you have any questions, any doubts, you can always message me and I would be happy to help you. All right. So please save my WhatsApp number. And there is also some global SPL WhatsApp group which our college manages. If you are part of the global WhatsApp group, then well and good. But if you are not part of my global WhatsApp group, then you can join through the link. But it's not mandatory, right? So up to you. So this is a list of high scorers from my previous attempt, which is June 2026. And I call this SBL 70s Club. What do you mean by 70s Club? That these are few of the students who scored more than 70. And you can see it's a long list of so many students who are scoring more than 70, the highest being 84. Aditi from India. She scored the highest in my batch. And some of these students I'm expecting to get the country prize, the top score of the country. For example, this Turkey student already received the highest scorer for Turkey. So I'm expecting few more. So just a tribute and congratulations to all these great shining stars of my previous batch. And the highest scorer from my previous batch was Aditi Gautam from India. She scored 84 marks. Would you like to have a discussion with Aditi? Should we try and understand from her how she was able to score so much marks, right? She must be doing something special. Yeah, so I have spoken to her and I'm trying my best that she is available tomorrow to join us in a live session so that we can have a conversation with her and take her secret recipe, take her secret strategy so that we can also score in 80s and 70s. All right, let's move on. SBL pass rate, it's generally, you can see it is above 50 to 53%. So SBL has got the highest passing rate, so nothing to worry about. So guys, some of these slides you are already aware, right? But I'll just quickly go through some important points. SBL is very, very different. Okay. It's not difficult. It is very, very different. Different from what? Different from all your other professional papers. Okay. So I don't want to go into the specifics, but this one is very, very different. This point I want to point out that one of the differences that more than 50% of your paper is common sense. So SBL, more than 50% of the paper is based on common sense. What is the meaning of common sense? That you don't require theoretical knowledge or syllabus knowledge or any model. You just read the exhibit and you think logically. So common sense question means that you have to think logically and no theoretical concept is required. Is there any other ACCA paper in which more than 50% question is common sense? What do you think? You must be knowing, right? All the other papers are, have heavily based on syllabus. So you have to cover the syllabus. You must have technical knowledge. But this paper, only 50% is based on syllabus. 50% is common sense. Now, is that good news or bad news? Is that good news for you or bad news? Well, for some students, it's good news because even if you have not studied the entire syllabus, you can still attempt 50% of the paper, provided that you are a logical thinker, you are a street smart person. But for majority of the students, this is bad news. Why? Because you guys are not used, you are not used to common sense or logical questions, right? Because all your other subjects are very syllabus focused subjects. So this is the first time you will be using your common sense. And what percentage, do you know what percentage is common sense question in your exam? More than 50%. So whether you like it or don't like it, or whether you are good at it or not good at it, doesn't matter. More than 50% is common sense. So even if you are weak at it, you have to become good at it. You don't have an option, right? And the only way to become good at common sense question is that you do a lot of discussions, brainstorming, thinking, asking, and then you practice a lot of common sense questions. That's the only way you will get good at it. Correct? All right, let's move on. So, this is a very interesting technique which I share with my students. So, in all your normal papers, you always think like a student, right? And you always think that you are drafting your answer for the examiner. Is that correct? In all your other papers, you feel you are a student, you are being tested, and you are trying to satisfy the examiner in order to score marks. So there is a student examiner mentality. But if you want to score high marks in SBL, you need to change your thought process. Stop saying that you are a student, start feeling like a CFO or a business leader. CFO is a business leader. Start feeling or start imagining yourself as a CFO, as a CEO, as a board director. And also imagine that you are not explaining your point to the examiner, you are basically explaining your point of view to the board of directors. The way you will talk to the board, the way you will explain the points to the board. So, this mindset, feeling like a leader, feeling or imagining yourself as a CFO, CEO, and imagining that you are giving your argument to the board really, really helps. Okay? Really, really helps. Now, I know that most of you have never worked, forget about being CFO. Most of you have not even worked. And those of you who are working are not yet CFO, right? But so what? Is it difficult to imagine? Is it difficult for you to imagine? Imagine, you have to imagine, right? Imagination. Well, can you imagine going on a date with a nice boy or girl? You can, right? So why can't you imagine yourself as a business leader? Try to be mature, think about the business. All right. Okay. So this strategy, all my high scoring students, they adopted this strategy, which they felt like a business leader, they thought like a business leader, and they thought that they are talking to the board. It automatically improved their thought process and the quality of their answer. So try it. There is no harm in trying, right? Okay. So all of you are aware of the paper format, guys? Is there anybody who is not aware of the paper format for SBL? Write me. Everybody is aware of the paper format. All right. So just I will quickly go through this. So there is no changes syllabus. The pre-seen material will be published on 20th August. Additional information will be given on the exam day, 3 to 4 exhibits. There will be 3 tasks worth 100 marks. Paper duration will be 3 hours and 15 minutes. All right. So it's a very pretty standard paper, 3 hours and 15 minutes, three tasks, 100 marks. So do you know what the pre-scene means? What is the meaning of pre-scene material? Yes, in ACC and SBL paper, the examiner will give you the background of the company, the background of the scenario 2 weeks before. The examiner will give you a detailed background of the company, of the scenario 2 weeks before your exam. Is that good or bad? That's really good. Yes, because now you know which company will be tested, which industry will be tested. You can prepare yourself for various possible topics and questions. That is why you see the SBL passing ratio is more than 50%. So will the pre-scene be same for all the students globally? What do you think? Is the pre-scene material same for all the students globally? Absolutely yes. The pre-scene material is same for all countries. But what will be different? The pre-scene will be same, but the exhibits or the tasks might differ based on time zones. But the pre-scene will always be the same. The task, the requirements, and the exhibits which are provided on the exam. So only the exam day information will vary according to the morning batch, afternoon batch, evening batch, so that students cannot cheat. Okay. So your pre-scene will be published on 20th of August. And for my paid students, I will be spending 2 full days on decoding the pre-scene so that you have a really good grip over the scenario. All right. Now, how many of you have not seen the SBL paper on the CB platform Write Me? How many of you have not seen the SBL paper on the CB platform Write Me? Oh my God. Oh my God. Seriously? Such a long list? So, guys, it's only 4 weeks left and you have not yet started at all. That's okay. So, let's quickly go through the paper, huh? So just I have already logged into my CB platform, and this is my CB platform. I will select all, and then strategic business leader. I have already assigned. Let's see this exam. Let's look at specimen paper number 2. Okay. So, guys, when you open your paper, this is the first screen you will see. When you enter inside your CBE paper, this is the first screen you will see. This is called the landing page. Landing page, as the name says, you will land on this page when you log in or enter the paper. So on the landing page, you will see a bit of information here. Here it will say Yachts Marine is a company which builds cruising yachts, blah, blah, blah. And then your role will be mentioned here. Very important. Your role will be mentioned on the landing page. So here it says Yachts Marine is seeking advice on a number of issues from Tranart consultants, and you work for Tranart Consultants. So your role will be mentioned on the landing page and the date will be mentioned on the landing page. These two information are very important because when you make formats like report, briefing paper, memos, you need to mention your role and the date. So now you will know your role and date from the landing page. Is that clear, guys? Good. Then, can you tell me how many exhibits were given in this attempt? Can you let me know how many exhibits were given in this attempt? Four exhibits. You can see the four exhibits here. Exhibit number one is overview of the investment project. Exhibit two is strategy committee and staff reaction. Exhibit three is something to do with risk mitigation. And exhibit four is board meeting on marketing approach. These four additional information is given to you on your exam day. Then, do you also have access to the pre-seen material? Yes, you also have access to the pre-seen material. You see pre-seen information. So if you click here, the pre-seen information is also given to you, right? Nice. So all the pre-seen. When was the pre-seen published? How many days before the paper the pre-seen was published? At least 2 weeks before this pre-seen was published. So are you expected to be aware of the pre-seen information when you are doing the paper? Yes. So this one is not new. You are already expected to be well well versed with the pre-scene, but just for reference purposes, pre-scene is also available so that if you want to um, look at the pre-scene or extract some information, you can easily go there. Now, where are the tasks? The last, here you will see the tasks. Task number one, 30 marks. So where is task number two? I can see just one task here. Where is task number two, guys? Yes, you have to press, go to the next page. You see on here on the right, bottom right, there's a next, and you press next. Everything will be the same, but the task will change. And again, next, you will go to task number three, and then next, no, no, no. I don't want to end the exam. How the hell do I go back? Oh shit. How do I go back? No, I don't want to end the exam. Okay, I just not attempted. Yeah. All right. So I'm back on task number one. So if you open the task, you will see the task here, right? All the task is here. Where is your answer sheet? Where will you draft your answer? So you see the response options. This is your response options. You will be provided with a word processor, with a spreadsheet, and with slides. So in SBL, we will be using word processor for all the answers. We will not be using spreadsheet because it is not a calculative paper. When you will use slides, any idea? When to use slides, any idea? Yes. The examiner will specifically tell you, prepare presentation slide. Then only you will use slides. Is that clear? That requirement will tell you, prepare presentation slide. Then you will have to use slide for that particular requirement. Other than that, all your answers will be on the word processor. Is that clear, guys? Another important thing, another mistake. So, task number one has its own word processor. So, this word processor is for task number one. Is that clear? This word processor is for task number one. So how many word processors will be there in total? Let me see your intelligence. Very nice. So in total, there will be three word processors, one for each task. There are three tasks, right? So this word processor is for task number one. When you press next like this, when you go to task number two, this word processor is for task number two. It's a fresh word processor. Okay. So there will be three word processor. So you have to solve the task in the respective word processor. Is that clear? Okay. Now, can we open multiple windows at the same time? Yes. For example, I open this task. This is one window. I can resize it. I can just do like this. And I open the word processors also. I can have them together. I can copy paste, control C, and then control V. Or something is wrong. Yeah. You see, I can copy paste this. I can type. Is that clear, guys? So you can have multiple windows open and you can copy paste information from the exhibits, from the task. If I open this exhibit, I can copy this sentence here and I can paste it here and then elaborate on it. All right. Now, sometimes in your exam, the copy pasting function does not work. Right now, I'm able to copy paste, but sometimes in your exam, this is a very, bad quality software. So for some students, the copy pasting does not work. Then what do you do? If the copy pasting does not work, that's bad news for you. Then you have to type manually. So you can open both the windows together and you can watch and you can type whatever you want to copy paste. Obviously, that will consume extra time, right? Because now you are, instead of copy pasting, um, you're actually typing the stupid stuff that will consume extra 10 minutes, I suppose. So that's bad luck. So your typing should be good. You should be mentally prepared. You should not panic and try to then, instead of typing exactly, you can type in a concise language to save time. This is bad luck, but don't panic. It happens. So if it's not copy pasting, then you have to type manually. So instead of crying, get hold of yourself and manage in the exam. Don't give up. Is that clear, guys? Let's hope and pray that this doesn't happen. Another, another possible issue which I know is when you are copy pasting, the format and the font of the pasted information is weird. It is not the same font size. When you copy paste something, the font and the font size becomes very different. Okay? Supervisor will not be able to help you. Supervisors are idiot. It's a software issue. So when the fonts are different, when you copy paste and it is copy pasting in a different weird font, what do? Ignore it. Okay, don't waste your time in correcting that format. Why? Because the examiner knows it's a system glitch. So a lot of students, they waste their time in correcting the format of the copy pasted. Leave it. Focus more on your own drafting and explanation rather than correcting the system format. Is that clear? So these are some of the challenges which you might face. It's not there every time, but sometimes it happens. So be mentally prepared, get your plan B ready, and follow it. That's about it. So CB platform, it looks like this. It has got some challenges. So you see, when you are practicing, we have still 4 weeks. When you are practicing, directly practice on the CBE platform so that you become familiar with the CBE platform. You are hands on. If you face problems, you are used to it. So all your past paper drafting or practice should be directly on the CBE platform. Is that clear? So in my revision class, starting from Tuesday, all my practice will be directly on the CBE platform so that you guys are hands on. All right, done with the CBE platform. Let's move on. Now, why do students fail SBL? Very important question, right? That why do students fail SBL? And it is very important to know the possible reasons so that you can protect yourself. So there are many reasons. I have given a long list, around 12 items, but I will, just talk about the main items first. So the main item is this one, answers not linked with the exhibits. This is one of the reasons, as per the examiner report. The examiner is saying that students are giving general or generalized answers or bookish answers or definitions or models explaining the model. No, not required. General answer definitions not required. All your answers has to be in context of the scenario. That's it. Okay. Another possible reason, most common reason is um, overspending time on one particular question. On overspending time on one particular question. How many of you have done this in your exam? In any paper of ACCA that you have overspent the time in one particular question? Most of you have done it. This is very common that uh, sometimes you tend to overspend the time in one particular question. You know what it is called? What I call this? I call this time trap. I call this time trap. So the examiner deliberately includes a question in which the student gets sucked and the student ends up spending extra time. That's a deliberate strategy. That is why I call it time trap. You are being trapped. Would you like to get trapped in your SBL paper? No, right? Nobody wants to get cornered. So this is another reason why students fail SBL, that they overspend time on one particular question, and because of that then they are not able to complete the entire paper. So I will teach you all the time management techniques. All right. But make sure that you don't fall in the time trap. The third most common reason is, as I mentioned earlier, 50%, more than 50% of the paper is common sense. And since students are weak in common sense topics, they have not done sufficient common sense practice. This is the reason why they fail. And nowadays, I'm seeing this one a lot. Nowadays, I'm seeing this reason is getting very popular, that students they stress out or they panic during the paper. How many of you have stressed out or panicked during your ACCA paper? Write me. See, I have started seeing this trend in the last 1 year, that a lot of students have now started panicking or stressing out. Maybe it's also a deliberate strategy by the examiner to test your. Do you understand? Maybe this is also a deliberate strategy. So, do you think a good leader, a good business leader, what happens if a business leader panics? Do you think a good CFO should panic? No, right? One of the main qualities of a leader is that he never panics. Because if the leader panics, the team will fall flat, right? Think about your head of the family. Think about your family head, right? You look up to that person, right? So maybe in SBL, the examiner deliberately tries to create a situation where you panic. And if you fell in that trap, you will not pass. How do we fix this? How do we fix this? How do we manage, make sure that you don't panic or stress out? Yes, very good, Hadika. Time-based mocks. Try to do at least 5 time-based mocks. What is a time-based mock? Under real time-based pressure, try to create a real environment of the exam condition so that you know when you are practicing, feel that pressure. So once you are used to it, you will get better slowly and gradually. And when you give your real exam, it will just feel like one of the mocks. The last possible reason which I have noticed is that students they are giving two papers together. How many of you are giving two papers in September? Write me. Several students, close to 2025. Have you already booked the exam? Yeah, it's too late to change the strategy, right? So you see, I just want to tell you that 90% of students who give two papers, 90% of them they flunk in SBL. 10% do pass. Why do they fail? Because SBL's mindset, the SBL is a very different paper. It's not like SBR or AAA or any APN. 50% is common sense. So the SBL techniques, SBL mindset is very different from your other paper. When you are preparing for two papers together, SBL plus SBR or whatever, you subconsciously try to, you will mix the strategies and the techniques. Okay. When you are doing two papers with two different approach, subconsciously you might mix up the techniques. The reason I'm telling you this is that you should be careful, you should be mindful of this risk. All right. All right. Let's move on. One question I get is, can you plan for September 2026 attempt now? Well, it's too late for this. So those of you who have already planned are now have booked the paper, right? So let's move on. All right, done. So that was the introduction portion to SBL. Now, are you guys ready for solving a question now? Are you guys ready to solve the past paper? No, not at all. Why? Are you aware of all the formats? SBL involves a lot of formats. How can you attempt a past paper when you don't know all the formats? Formats are prerequisites. So, should we go through all the formats quickly so that you're able to make the required format? All right, so let's go through the formats. So the most common format is this one. These four formats are tested 80% of the time, 80% of your paper are based on these four formats: report, briefing paper, briefing note, or a memo. 80% of your paper is based on these formats. What I have done is I have simplified the format. I have given one single format which covers all these four formats. So if the examiner asks you for a report, you can use this form. The examiner asks you for a briefing paper, then also you can use this format. Do you understand? So I have made one consolidated format which we can use in either one of these four so that you save time in your exam and you don't panic. So this format is basically you can use as a report, you can use as a briefing paper, briefing note, or memo. All you need to do is on the top here, you have to mention the name of the format. If the examiner asks you for a report, on the top you will write report. If the examiner asks you for a memo, on the top you will write memo. If the examiner asks you for a briefing paper or a briefing note, on the top you will write the name briefing paper, briefing note. Is that clear, guys? Thus the top heading will change. Rest everything is same, okay? Only the top heading will change. So there are 5 things: to, from, subject, date, introduction, 6, and the closure. On the format, there are 6 things: to, from, subject, date, introduction, and closure. How many things, guys? A standard format includes how many headings? Quick, everybody. 6 standard headings: to, from, subject, date, introduction, and the last ending note is called closure. So to means what? To means the addressee, whom we are addressing this report. So we are addressing this report to, it will be given in the requirement, it will be mentioned in the task, who you are supposed to write to. From is basically your role. From where you will get your role? From where do you know what is your role? Perfect. On the landing page, our role will be given. So, for example, the paper which we opened, what is our role here in this paper? We are trainer consultant. This one. Your role you will write as trainer consultants. Is that clear? Azhar? Exactly copy paste your role from the landing page. Is that complicated, guys? Your role you need to copy exactly from the landing page. Don't try to be creative. Here our role is trainer consultant. Just copy it and put it under the format under your role. Okay, guys? Now, role can be of 2 types. Your role will be of two types. Either you are an external person or you are an internal person. In this case, you are basically Tranart consultant. So what do you think? Are you an external firm or you are an employee of the company? We are external, right? Consultants, advisors are always external company. So when you are an external firm like Tranart Consultants, then you will adopt a third party tone of drafting. You will talk like a outsider. When you will be talking to the CEO or the company, you will say you, yours. Okay? You will be speaking like an outsider, third party. Now, if your role is insider, for example, you are the finance manager of the company, then we are insider because we are an employee of the company. So then we will use insider tone of drafting like we, us, our. Okay. Everybody clear so far? That you need to decide whether you are an insider role or you have an outsider role. And then throughout your drafting tone depends on your role, whether you are insider or whether you are outsider. Now, there is one confusion with students. There is one particular role which is confusing. What sometimes your role is non-executive director. Sometimes in one few of the papers, your role has been defined as that you are a non-executive director, NED. So what do you think? NED is internal or external? Yes, NED we need to take as internal. Okay. Why? Because NED is part of the board. NED is a director, right? Even though he's independent, he is part of the board. So should be considered as an insider because the board is insider. Clear, guys? Okay. Done with the role. So to from subject, you will have to decide from the requirement what should be the appropriate subject of your format. Date, from where you will get the date. Again, the date will be mentioned on the landing page. So in this particular question, the date is September 20x3. You will straightforward copy paste the date as September 20x3. Introduction, then you will give the heading introduction. You will write this report and then the rest you will copy paste from the requirement. And in the last, you will give the closure, best regards, and you mention your role. So these six things: to, from, subject, date, introduction, and closure. This is part of the format. Where will be your main answer? Main answer will be here, this one. So after introduction and before the closure, You will then type your main drafting. Now, what about this one? Should we give any conclusion or recommendation at the end of the report or the briefing paper? No. We should not, we should never give any conclusion or recommendation voluntarily. Unless unless a conclusion or recommendation is required in the task. If the examiner clearly says, prepare a report, blah, 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 and give your recommendation or conclusion, then of course you have to give the conclusion or recommendation. But otherwise, if the question is silent, then we will avoid conclusion. We will not give it voluntarily. Any questions on the report format, briefing paper, briefing note, or memo? This covers 80% of your paper. All right, let's move on. What's the next format? Sometimes the examiner says prepare a section of a report. Prepare a section of a report. So the examiner doesn't want a full report, he just wants a certain section or part of a report. So we will not write to, from, subject, date, we will skip some of them. In a section of a report, just mention the subject, that's it. That this is the subject is this. Start with the introduction and then the closure. That's it. Okay. Very simple format. Just give the heading section of a report, skip to, skip from, skip the date, just mention the subject, give an introduction, write your answer, and give a closure. It's a smaller version of a report. Three things only, yes. One, two, and three. In report, there were six things, right? There were six headings. Here there are just three headings. Asadullah, please stop asking stupid questions. If you don't see anything on the format, then it means no, right? Please up your game. Now, email format, almost same like report. There are six things: to, from, subject, date. There is an introduction here, introductory paragraph. Only the introduction heading is not mentioned. Then your answer and then the closure. Same like report, only the heading introduction is not there. We will just start with the introductory paragraph. Is that clear? Now, what else? Very important. Presentation slides. Guys, presentation slide is always there in your paper. So we have to know one task is always based on presentation slides. How many of you have prepared any presentation in the past in your maybe college, in your workplace, or you have attended a presentation. So many of you, right? All right, enough. So, what is a presentation? So, presentation is a slide, right? You see this box, this is a presentation slide. And if you recall presentations, how they are made, presentations, they just have pointers, correct? You don't write lengthy stories in presentation. A presentation, the whole purpose of a presentation slide is that it is concise, it is pointers. Do you agree? Presentation is always very concise, to the point, bullet pointers. So then who is speaking? Who is explaining those points? If you have made a presentation, your slide is very concise, right? So then who is the person who is explaining? You are the speaker, yes. The one who is presenting, he is explaining the pointers, correct? So the presentation slide is very concise, very bullet style, but the person who is presenting, the speaker, he is verbally explaining each point to the audience, correct? Yes or no? Yes, exactly same thing is in SBL format. So when the examiner asks you for a presentation slide, so you will prepare the slide. And you see this format that the slide will always be concise, bullets to the point. Do you see any explanation here? Yes or no? These are just 3 points, but there is no explanation here because a slide is supposed to be just bullet points. Correct? But where will be the explanation of these points? It will be here under supporting notes. Sometimes the examiner calls it speaker notes. So the explanation of these bullets you will need to write here under supporting notes. Is it clear? So the bullet points will be in the slide. I repeat, the bullet points will be in the slide and the explanation will be under supporting notes or speaker notes. So if there are 3 bullets here, you see that I have given as an example, I have given 3 bullets. So how many paragraphs should I expect to see under supporting notes? Then there should be 3 paragraphs, right? 1 paragraph, 2 paragraph, 3 paragraph. Why 3 paragraph? Each paragraph will be explaining each bullet. So if there are 3 bullets, I expect to see 3 explanations. Do you think these paragraphs should be according to this sequence or it should be haphazard? Yes, these paragraphs should be sequential. For example, in this case, if the first bullet is high turnover, so the first paragraph will explain what I mean to explain. The second paragraph would talk about low staff morale. That's the basic professional approach, right? So these paragraphs should be in the sequence of the bullets. Each bullet has its own separate explanation. My third question, should we also mention the subheadings here for each paragraph? Should we mention the subheadings for each? No need. It will be a waste of time. It will be repetitive, right? So if the bullets are there on the slide, it is understood that each paragraph talks about each bullet. So don't be repetitive, don't waste precious time in repeating the pointers, the headings. Are you clear, everybody? So far, what is a presentation slide? Now, let me show you on the CBE platform. CBE platform is exactly the same. If I go back to my CBE platform, so my first question is, when do we use a presentation slide? We normally use word processor, right? We will use the word processor. But when do we use a slide? When the requirement, when the task specifically asks you to prepare presentation slide. If you see the word presentation slide in the requirement, then we will use this option. Do you see this slides? Then we will not use word processor. For that task, we will click the slide button. Shall I click it? Should I click it? Okay. So I will click slides. When you click on slides, this format will open. Now look very carefully. Slide number 1, and then it is blank empty slide. You can type here, right? Blah, 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 and then you can get bullet. You can get bullet. So this is my slide. Is that clear? On the slide, you will give the main header, and then you will give your pointers. Is this clear? Yes or no? Now, where do we explain these bullets? Just scroll down, and here you will see another text box. Here it says slide number 1, speaker note. So slide number 1 is the slide itself in which you will mention the bullets, and then just underneath slide, you will see the speaker notes for slide number 1. Here you will type your paragraphs. So how many paragraphs should I expect to type here? If there are 3 bullets on the slide, how many how many points I have to explain? 3 separate paragraphs. Is this clear, guys? And then what is this? Slide number 2. What is slide number 2? Another slide. Very simple. So normally in SBL, the examiner always, not always, but 95% of the time, the examiner wants you to prepare two slides. If you read the requirements, the examiner will mention how many slides. 95 or even 99% of the time, the examiner specifically says prepare two presentation slides. So that is why you see slide number one and then followed by slide number two. So this is the second slide and then followed by slide number two's speaker notes. Is this clear, guys? Should we mention the task number? Not really. We don't need to mention the task number because examiner knows that this slide is for which task. Guys, I'm getting some questions which I have already answered, so I'm not going to repeat myself. Now, somebody is asking how many bullets per slide? Is it 3 bullets per slide? Should it be 2 bullets? Should it be 5 bullets? What is the optimum number of bullets per slide? A very basic question, guys. It depends on the marks. Idiots, it depends on the marks. We calculate the number of points based on marks, right? So it depends on the slide. It can be 3 points, it can be 4 points, it can be 5 points per slide, depending on the marks. Is that clear? Okay, let's move on. So we are done with presentation slides. Any more questions on this format, presentation slide? Yes or no? Saad, I've already answered that. Mohammad Usman, avoid. All right, let's move on. Now, very rarely the examiner asks for a letter format. I think only 2 times in the history of SBL in the last 3 or 4 years, only 2 times letter has been asked that draft a letter. Okay. The chances are less, but still you should be familiar with the letter format. If the examiner asks you to draft a letter, what will be the thing? On the top, you will mention the word letter, date, then your organization will be on the right. Then who you are addressing to should be here. Then subject, opening sentence, opening paragraph, and then the closure. Okay. So instead of to, from, subject, date, it's a bit reorganized. So date on the top, from is here, to is here, then the introductory paragraph, subject is here, and then the closure. It's a slightly complicated format, but you will need to memorize it, okay? Then again, a very rarely asked format. I think this is also asked 1 or 2 times only. The examiner can say draft a press release or a website release. This is only tested 1 or 2 times in last 4 years. So less chances, but nonetheless, you need to be aware of the format. So when you have to draft press release, so you will write press release on the top. You will write the name of the subject, the name of the company, and this is the opening sentence, and then the closure. Again, a unique, different format. So you will need to memorize it. Do you want me to share these templates with you guys? I think I will be able to share with my paid students, but okay, I will share in the various WhatsApp groups. Okay. It's already there in the top 25, but sometimes I have changed the formats. So please follow the latest guidelines for the format. Okay. Then there is something called a business case. Again, this was just tested once that you have to prepare a business case. So whenever the examiner asks you to prepare a business case, give the heading on the top, then current situation, evaluation of options, and recommendation. Three broad headings: current situation or problem, options, and suggestions. Again, you just need to memorize it. Chances are less, but don't leave it. Another thing is called project initiation document. This has been tested like 2 or 3 times. It's a very specific topic for project management. So you will not be asked to prepare a project initiation document. Okay, in SBL, the examiner will not ask you to prepare the PID because it will be very time consuming. Instead, the examiner will give you a PID and will ask you to identify errors, mistakes, omissions. Is that clear? The examiner will not ask you to prepare a project initiation document. He will give you a project initiation document and he will ask you to review it and identify mistakes and omissions. How you will identify mistakes and omissions? You need to be aware of the contents of a PID, right? So these are the contents. Wait, what happened? So this is the content of the PID. You need to memorize what are the things included in PID so that you can review a PID when it is given to you. The last thing I want to talk about is many times the examiner asks you to identify weakness and give recommendation. This is a very commonly tested question in your paper that you're supposed to discuss the internal control weakness and give recommendation. I will give a break in 5 minutes. So whenever you are supposed to discuss internal control weakness and give recommendation, I always prefer a tabular format. Okay. I always prefer a tabular format. On left side, you will write the weakness, explain the weakness. On the right side, you will give recommendations how you can fix it. Why do I prefer a tabular format? Because it is faster in your exam, and it's more easy to manage if you use a tabular form. Same, sometimes the examiner asks you to discuss the risk and give recommendations. Same concept. Instead of internal control weakness, you are now talking about the risks. Use a tabular format. You mention the risk here and you give your suggestions here. Any questions on weakness and recommendation type questions? How do you make a table in the CBE platform? That's the question, right? Do you know how to insert a table in your CBE platform? It's very simple. Go to the word processor and here you will see this option table. Just click on your table. How many columns you want? I want 2 columns. I need 5 rows. Just like a Word document, I will mention weakness and that's my heading. And then I will start typing here. This is the weakness and this is the recommendation. Second weakness, second recommendation. Third weakness, done. Clear, guys? Now, sometimes can we insert a table like a table for weakness inside a report? If the format is a report, if the format required is a report asking you to discuss the weakness and recommend, can we use a table inside a report? Yes, why not? Not a problem. There is no restriction, okay? So whatever format is required, you can Ritika ignore. All right. So done with the formats. So we have gone through several formats, guys. Let me recap. So we spoke about report, briefing paper, briefing note, and memo. Then we spoke about section of a report. Then we spoke about email. Then we discussed presentation slides. These 4 are the most frequently asked. And then some exceptions like letter, press release, business case, and PID. These are very less low chances, but just be familiar with the format. And last, for weakness and recommendation, when 2 things are required, use a tabular format. Any questions on the format? Yes, Moinuddin. Yes, they are same. Yes, Azim. All right. Let's take a small break and once we are back, we will cover the remaining things. So let's take a 10-minute break or how much session will I require another 2 hours. I need another 2 hours to complete today's session. 1.5 to 2 hours. So let's take a 15-minute break and then we will complete till the end. Okay. We need another 1.5 hour to 2 hours. So guys, I'm very, very punctual. 15 minutes means 15 minutes. So it is 7:35 in Dubai. So I will see you 7:50 Dubai time. All right. See you in 15 minutes. All right, guys, can we start, please? Perfect. Thank you so much. So now, guys, now since you know all the formats, now you are ready to attempt your past papers. Not yet. Absolutely correct. Why? Because there are five professional skills, and you need to be aware of all of them before you attempt past papers, right? So let's spend few minutes on professional skills. So guys, first of all, do you know what is the total marks of SBL paper? SBL paper is based on how many 100 marks? Yes. 100 marks. SBL is worth 100 marks. And do you know what is the marks of professional skills out of 100? Yes, 20 marks is for professional skills. So, what percentage is professional skills marks? What is the percentage of professional skills marks in your paper? 20%. So professional skills marks is represents 20% of your total marks. That's a lot, guys. Yeah. 1/5 of your paper is professional skills. That's a lot of weightage. All right. So luckily, the professional skills in SBL is very structured, very well drafted, and it is easy to score good marks if you know how to handle the professional skills. So, since it represents 20 marks, do you think it makes sense for us to really focus on professional skills in order to pass the paper? Yes. The 20 marks are there. We know it will be tested in your exam. It's for sure. Professional skills, 20 marks will be there. So, supposing out of 20, you are able to score 15 marks out of 20 professional marks, you are able to score 15 marks, then how many more marks are required to pass the paper? Then you just need 35 more marks to pass the paper, right? So I always emphasize on grabbing the maximum professional marks because it will make it easier for you to pass the paper. I call it cash marks. These are low hanging fruits. If you know how to score well, these are cash marks. Try to score maximum in professional skills so that you can pass at least very easily. So, do you know how many professional skills are there in your SBL subject? Yes, SBL has five professional skills which you need to demonstrate. One is evaluation skill, analysis skill, communication skill, commercial acumen skill, and skepticism skill. Okay. The good part is that the examiner will always tell you which skill you need to demonstrate in that particular task. That's the good part, correct? Like you, examiner will always tell you which particular skill you need to demonstrate so that you can focus on that skill. You're right. So let's talk about the first one, evaluation skill. Very simple, very easy. Evaluation skill simply means that when you are drafting your answer, make sure that you include both pros and cons. Do you know the meaning of pros and cons? Advantage and disadvantage, yes. So evaluation skills simply means that you include both the advantages and the disadvantages of that thing in your answer. You need to cover both sides, the positive side as well as the negative side. When we are evaluating something, we look at all the angles, the plus points, the positive things, the advantages, plus the disadvantages, the negative side, the risk, the issues. Is that clear, guys? Whenever the examiner says demonstrate evaluation skill, make sure that you include all the sides, the positive sides as points as well as the negative points. As simple as that. If you include both positive points and negative points, automatically you will get professional marks. Now, couple of complications or not complications, couple of things I want to point out. Supposing you are expected to write 10 points, okay, for a particular task, you are supposed to write 10 points. So how many positive points and how many negative points? What do you think? So all my paid student, you are aware of this, right? Yeah. So it all depends on the information available in the scenario. If you are supposed to write 10 points, how many positive, how many negative? Don't know. It all depends on the exhibit. What kind of information is there? Because we always follow the exhibits to draft our points, right? So if the exhibit has more positive points, then I will cover more positive points and less negative. If the exhibit has more negative points and less positive, so be it. I will just follow the exhibit. So there is no hard and fast rule of equal positives and equal negatives. Is this clear, guys? Yes or no? Very good. The second thing I want to point out is that sometimes the examiner says critically evaluate. Sometimes the examiner says critically evaluate. So he adds the word critically. Critically comes from the word criticize. So critically evaluate simply means that you focus more on negative points or positive points. Critically evaluate. Yes. Critically evaluate means that you have to focus more on negative points. So you can write one or two positive points, that's fine, but majority of your points should be negative points because the examiner specifically mentioned critically evaluate. Then majority of your points should be negative. Not necessarily all the points, but majority at least should be negative points. Clear? Done. We are done. Evaluation skill, very simple. Make sure that you include both positive points and negative points. The mix or the split depends on the information available. And if the examiner says critically evaluate, then you write more negative points and less positive points. This kind of skill is normally tested in evaluating a proposal. So when the examiner gives you a proposal and he will ask you to evaluate that proposal, so obviously every proposal will have some positive points and some negative points. So normally evaluation skill is normally tested with a question relating to proposals. Normally, there might be other situations as well. The second skill is analysis skill. Again, very easy. Analysis skill means identifying the reason or the root cause. That's it. Identifying the reason or the root cause. Meaning, why? Why is it happening? You see, identifying the reason. If the sales revenue has fallen, the board will ask you why, right? So you have to identify the reasons why revenue has fallen. So when you identify the reason or the root cause, that's analysis skills. The profit has suddenly doubled. Another scenario, the profit has doubled this year. Is that good or bad? That's good, right? But the board will ask how or why the profit has doubled. So you will explain to the board the reasons, right? So investigating the reason, the root cause is analysis skills. Whether it's for a bad thing or a good thing doesn't matter. Investigating the reason, the why is analysis skills. Why do students fail SBL? Let me know. Give me top two reasons. Why do students fail SBL? Just give me two top reasons. Maybe time management, lack of practice, panicking, common sense question. Done. This is analysis. You are investigating the reason or the root cause. Is that clear, guys? So normally analysis skills, it is tested in um, financial analysis questions, identifying the variances, the reasons, where you need to look for the reasons Analysis skills. Analysis skills simply means investigating the reason. From where you will get the reasons? Any idea? You need to identify the reasons, right? So, from where you will identify the reasons? Yes, the reasons will be hidden or mentioned in the exhibit. So, you need to identify the reason and explain it to the board. Explain it to the board or the examiner. Yes, change your mindset. Explain it to the board. It will improve your thinking and drafting quality. All right, done. The third skill is called communication skill. It's very simple, nothing needs to be done. So, do you think communication, a good CFO or a good uh, leader should have good communication skills? Obviously. So this is an inbuilt quality which should be there. So in your SBL, what does communication skill means? It's very simple. First of all, your format. The format, remember, report or briefing paper, that format should be professional. Then the second thing is you need to keep your role in mind, whether you are internal, whether you are external. So your drafting tone, insider or outsider. Easy? This one is very keep the role of the reader in mind. What does this mean? Keep the role of the reader in mind. Addressee, yes. So, which simply means that just try to explain your point in simple layman language so that your audience can understand. Do you understand what I'm saying? That when you are drafting your point, use simple layman language so that your audience can understand. For example, your reader, your reader might not be a finance professional. It might be the board, it might be the CEO, it can be the HR director. They are not finance people, right? So you have to explain your point in such a way that a non-finance person can also understand your logics. Is that clear? So in simple words, whatever you draft, make sure that any layman can understand your drafting. So that's normal, right? That's nothing extra. Try to use professional tone. So don't try to use casual wordings, casual jargons. No, you're talking to the board. So you should sound serious. You should sound professional. You should sound convincing. So, in my opinion, I don't think anything extra needs to be done in communication skill. Just make sure your format is appropriate. Keep your role in mind, whether you are insider, outsider. When you're drafting your point, just use plain English so that you're able to communicate your point. That's it. That's it. Automatically, you will get communication skills, simple language. So all these skills are generally applied for all the tasks, right? This skill applies on all the tasks, not only on that particular task. So communication skill is generally applied throughout the paper, that the format should be appropriate, your tone should be appropriate, your drafting, wording should be explanatory. Yeah. The fourth one is commercial acumen. Now, this one is very simple, but for some reason, majority of the students have low confidence on this. Everybody knows this, but I don't know why some students or majority of the students feel that they don't know it. Okay, let me ask you, how many of you think you don't commercial acumen right me? Let's see right now. How many of you think that you are weak or you don't have commercial acumen in you? Come on, be honest. The list is going on. And how many of you think you don't have commercial acumen in you? I can tell you each and every one of you has commercial acumen. It's just that you don't realize it. Let me open up your commercial acumen. So, first of all, do you know the meaning of commercial acumen? What does it mean actually? What does it mean? Commercial acumen means that you should have some basic business sense. See, Bangi, what's wrong? You should have some basic business understanding. Correct? Commercial acumen means that other than finance, you should be able to understand the other business functions, business activities, business knowledge. Is that clear? That a finance professional should be able to understand the other aspects or functions of the business, the big picture. Now, do you think a good CFO should have good understanding of a business, of his business? Of course, obviously, right? I'm a CFO of an insurance company. In my day job, I'm a CFO of an insurance company. I sit in the board. Do you think I know about my business other than finance? Of course. Do you, so when I say other than finance, what do I mean? Do you think I have little bit of idea about marketing? What do you know? What do you think? Do you think I will have a basic idea about marketing department, what they are doing, how they are marketing, what is their marketing plan? I'm able to understand that, right? Do you think I will have some idea about the operation department, what they are doing, how they are processing the policies, how they are processing the claims? I do. More than basic, yes. I am, of course, I have detailed knowledge. Do you think I will have any idea about the HR, human resource department? Of course, what is the HR strategy, hiring plan, firing plans, payrolls, staff training, motivation, staff activities, staff surveys. I do know about it, right? So these words which I am saying, are you able to understand? HR strategy, motivation, staff training, marketing strategy. You're able to understand it, what it means, right? You have some idea. So it means you have commercial acumen. No. Do you think I will have some idea about IT operations of my company? Of course, I know IT. Little bit. Basics I definitely know. Hardware, software, network, servers, IT security, IT upgrades, cyber, clouds. Basics I know. Do you know what is a budget? Have you ever prepared a budget? So you know what a budget is, right? That a budget is that we forecast what will be the revenue, what will be the cost, what will be the profit for next year, correct? We estimate the revenues, we estimate the costs, profits. That's budget. Budget is my responsibility. As a CFO, I'm responsible to prepare the annual budget. So, do you think I need to understand the revenues, how they are coming? I need to understand the costs, like marketing cost, HR cost. So, as a CFO, I need to understand all the components of the business so that I'm able to make the budgets, I'm able to track variances, identify the reasons, analysis. I need to understand the whole business, right? So, commercial acumen is a very important thing, especially for a business leader. If you are a business leader, you are sitting in the board, then you have to understand the entire business. You might not be expert, you might not be expert understanding, but basics you should know. Now let's test whether you have commercial acumen or not. Shall I test your knowledge? Shall I test you guys now whether you have? All right. Okay. Our sales revenue declined by 50% this year. Is that good or bad? Sales revenue declined by 50%. That's bad. So you know it's bad. Good, good. What can be the possible reasons in your view? Think about some external factors, think about some internal factors. Wah, wah, zabardast. Here you go. This is commercial acumen, guys. Economic recession, I'm just reading few of it. Economic recession, poor marketing, poor quality, staff turnover, restricted operational inefficiency. Oh, amazing, man. This is commercial acumen. Stop, stop. You are giving me genuine possible reasons. Are you talking like accountants or are you giving me logical reasons? Exactly. This is exactly what is commercial acumen. Okay, let me test another scenario. Are you guys ready for another scenario? The staff turnover increased by 50% this year. Staff turnover increased by 50% this year. Is that good or bad? Let's go step by step. That's bad, right? Staff turnover means that your staff is leaving you. 50% people left you. Give me two or three possible reasons for high staff turnover. Here you go. Here you go. Low salary, poor working conditions, poor motivation, toxic work culture, no career growth, discrimination, no training, health and safety issues, narcissism. I don't know what it means. Alas, done. Done. This is commercial acumen. That's basic logical thinking. Do you want to test one more scenario? Last one, okay. There was a major cyber breach in our company. Do you know what is the meaning of cyber breach? Hacking. Let's say our systems and data was hacked or leaked. Possible reasons. Poor IT controls, poor password management, poor firewall, poor staff training, bad IT security. Okay, very good. Enough, enough. So, cyber breach is a good thing or a bad thing? If there's a cyber breach, which means our data was leaked or hacked or corrupted or destroyed, it's a good thing or a bad thing? It's a very bad thing. Why? What is the impact of cyber breach on the company? Impact. Why is it bad? Here you go. Reputational loss, loss of customers, legal fines and penalties. And this is commercial acumen. Operational disruption, Samreen, very good. Loss of confidential data, loss of market share. Enough. Everybody now clear what is commercial acumen. You don't have to be a business expert, guys. Just basic common sense about what's happening around the company. That's it. Now, everybody has commercial acumen skill. Hmm? Good. So now how do we uh, demonstrate this skill in the exams? So again, nothing next needs to be done. It depends on the requirement. Where when you talk about customers, when you talk about competition, market share, strength, weakness, IT, HR, marketing, all these topics are non-finance topics, right? So if you're able to give these reasons, automatically you will get commercial acumen. For example, the examiner can ask you what will be the advantage and disadvantage of big data analytics. So if you can explain the advantage and disadvantage of big data analytics, that is commercial acumen. That's it. Is that clear, guys? The examiner can say, what is the advantage and disadvantage of a talent management program? So if you're able to give the advantage and disadvantage of a talent management program, that's commercial acumen because it's a non-finance topic. All right, done. Oh, come on, man. What's wrong? So this just keep this in mind. Think like a business leader rather than an accountant. An accountant will always have a very narrow mentality, right? He will only think about cost. Am I right? Accountant always thinks about costs. Yes or no? Accountant, they always think about costs. But I am a CFO. Do you know what I think about? I don't think about costs. I think about revenues and profit. No, obviously, I also think about costs, but my primary focus is how to increase revenue and profits. Do you understand the difference in approach? Accountants, they just focus on cost, but a leader will always focus on growth, revenues, profits, staff motivation, marketing. All right, done. Everybody clear on commercial acumen? Nothing extra needs to be done. If you know all the topics of SBL, you can easily score straightforward marks. The last one is skepticism skill. This one is slightly complicated than the other four. The word skepticism comes from the word skeptical. And what is the meaning of the word skeptical? Do you know? Skeptical means what? Questioning mind. Being skeptical means questioning mind. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of questioning mind? Questioning mind means what? Always asking questions. Yes. Do not trust anything on face value. Right. Challenge, probe, ask questions, disagree. All this is so. As I said, I am the CFO, and there are like I have 15 staff in finance. Okay. I'm the CFO and I have 15 staff under me. Shall I trust their work blindly? Shall I just sign off whatever they give to me? No. For example, they come to me for payments, right? When they have to make a payment, I am a bank signatory. I sign the checks. Shall I verify the payments, check the invoices, the supporting, or should I trust them? Yes, I don't trust anyone, man. It's always good to double check, to ask questions, to verify. Yeah. So that's skepticism. How many of you have a skeptical mind? Yes. A lot of students have skeptical mind. They don't trust me, right? Do you guys trust me as a SBL teacher? No. No, you are saying no. You're asking me questions, counter questions, right? You're asking me reconfirming things. So I think you should not be over skeptical, but you should not be under skeptical as well. You should have the right level of skepticism, asking the right questions, satisfying yourself. Hamza, avoid. How do you how do you demonstrate skeptical skills in your exam? That's the main thing. So there are certain words which you need to use in your drafting. There are certain fact words which you need to use in your drafting to demonstrate to the examiner that you have skepticism skills. Is that clear? That there are certain fact words which you need to use while you are drafting your answer. What are those fact words? There are many possible words. You can use words like I disagree. So if there is any stupid comment by some other director, you can say that I disagree. And then you will have to give your logic why you disagree. So this word I disagree shows that you have skeptical mind. Or it seems incorrect. Again, you are challenging something, right? You're saying like it's not correct. Or it seems unrealistic. It's not clear. Or you can say it should be further investigated. All this is showing that you are not trusting blindly and you are having a skeptical mind. It's not adequate. Or you can ask some probing questions, counter questions to seek more clarity. So, all these are certain pet words or techniques which you should use in your drafting. Is that clear, everybody? Yes or no? Right. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. First of all, when you are showing skepticism, you should not use foul language. You should not cross you should be respectful or professional, right? Even if you disagree, that's fine, but nobody gives you the right to be aggressive or disrespectful or unprofessional. For example, if I say, I think it's incorrect, is that okay? Does it sound respectful and polite? I think it's incorrect. But if I say, I think you are absolutely incorrect, what does it mean? So, just be polite. You don't have to really go into a fight. Don't be aggressive. Even if you say, I think it's incorrect, is more than enough. But if you say this is absolutely incorrect, now you are being boss, right? You don't talk like that in hello, Amanullah. Excuse me. All right. Now, another question. Supposing you are supposed to write 10 points. Okay. You are supposed to write 10 points as per marks. And the requirement says demonstrate skepticism skill. So, in how many points should you demonstrate skepticism? In all the points or few of the points? Let me repeat my question. Supposing, as per marks, we are supposed to write 10 points in total. So, should we demonstrate skepticism in all the points or few points? Yes, few points, correct. It's not practical to challenge each and every point, right? It's not possible to that all the points are incorrect and you are fighting on all the points. No, few points depending on the scenario. But ideally, 2 points are more than enough. If you can give 3 points, that's good. But at least 2 points you have to demonstrate out of 10 points. Is that okay? All right, done. Now, there is some overall guidance on professional marks. There's some overall guidance on professional marks. And I thought I will share with you because I found it very interesting. Examiner acknowledges that English is not the first language for many students. Okay? Meaning that examiner knows that English, some for some students, English language might not be very good. You might be weak or average in English. Examiners are looking for ability to express points clearly, factually, and concisely in a convincing manner. So even if your English is not good, doesn't matter. It's not a test of your English grammar or English language. But at least your English should be sufficient that you are able to communicate your thoughts clearly and convincingly. Is that okay, guys? The second thing is prioritizing important and crucial points first rather than smaller or minor points. So if you have many points, always start with important or crucial points first, smaller points later. Okay, done. So we are done with professional skills. Now, once we will start our past paper practice, then we will apply all these professional skills and you will understand how these are, demonstrated in drafting. All right, done. Let's move on. Now, the last topic for today is exam techniques. Hadika only for skepticism. Exam techniques, guys, is the most important thing to pass SBL. The most. Why? Because it doesn't matter how much you have studied. You have studied for 1 month, you have studied for 2 months, you have studied for 6 months, doesn't matter. Your actual performance will be judged based on those 3 hours and 15 minutes. Correct? Yes or no? So if a student has studied SBL for 6 months, but during those 3 hours, he or she panicked and did not perform, he will fail. And similarly, if a student has studied only for 1 month, selected studies, but in those 3 hours, that student performed really well, he will pass. So examiner doesn't care about how much you have studied. Examiner will only mark you based on your 3 hours performance, right? So that is why exam techniques is the make or break thing. If you have studied a lot, but if you don't know the exam techniques, you will not perform in those 3 hours and you will fail. So now you understand the importance of exam techniques. So let's go one by one. So the first thing I want to talk about is time management. So total allowed time is 3 hours and 15 minutes, which means in total we have 195 minutes. Correct? So my suggestion is that you should spend 10 minutes on reading and planning, 10 minutes on reading and planning, and the remaining 185 minutes on drafting. Is that clear? So I always suggest that we should, when we start the paper, spend 10 minutes on planning first, reading and planning, and then the remaining 185 minutes, you can start drafting your answer. So when I say spend 10 minutes on reading and planning, what are you supposed to do in 10 minutes? Ghanshyam, please don't ask stupid questions. What are you supposed to do in 10 minutes? This is the list. When I say reading and planning, you are supposed to do these things. Read the information provided on the landing page and identify your role and date. Is this clear, guys? Hmm? For example, in our case, the This is the landing page, right? So you will read this line, we will look at our role, we will look at the date, how many exhibits are there? There are 4 exhibits. Done. How much time it will take you to read the landing page, guys? 1 minute? Seriously? 2 minutes? Are you crazy? 3 minutes? Are you guys crazy or what? How much time it will take you to read this portion? Less than 1 minute, yes. It will take me 10, 20 seconds, right? Main thing is what is your role? Role and date. What are the exhibits? We are not reading the exhibit. I'm just looking at the list of exhibits. So let's say 1 minute. Is that okay? 1 minute is okay? Right. Then what do we do? Copy paste all technical requirements on Scratchpad. Okay. So the next thing is I want you, should we read the requirements first? Yes or no? You don't want to read the requirement. Don't you want to know what topic is being asked? Exactly. So we need to know what are the questions, what are the requirements in our attempt, what topics are being asked. Very important, right? Correct? Yes or no? So I will read task number 1. Hey, why is it not going? Wait, guys, I'm refreshing. Shit, man. So let's say task number 1. Okay, you will open up task number 1 and will you read task number 1? Yes or no? You will read task number 1. Okay, this is required. Advise on the financial, non-financial benefits and drawbacks. Recommend with reason. Then we will move to task number 2. We will open task number 2 and we will write a letter, and then there is task number 2B. Then we will read task number 3, this 3A and then 3B. Now by the time I read task number 3, I will forget task number 1. Correct? Does that happen to you that when you read more tasks, you will forget, right? Because you are changing screens, you are moving to next screen. So I again have to go back to task number 1 to see, then I will forget task number 2. So I have a shortcut of it. I have a shortcut. I want to see all the tasks on one page. Will that help? If I have all the tasks on one screen, will that help? Of course. That's best, right? That if I can see all the tasks, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, if they're all on one page, it will be very easy and efficient for me, right? So what I will do is I will open my scratch pad. Do you know where the scratch pad is? Can you see scratch pad on the screen? Here. Open the scratch pad. Control. Put it on one side. Okay. Now open the task and only copy the bold portion. Do you see the bold portion? Control C and Control V. Is that clear? Then I will close this task. I will go to next task. I will select the bold portion, this one, and then task 2B, Control C, scratch pad, this one. Then I will close this task. I will go to task number 3. I will select the bold portion and 3B. I will copy. Done. Now what I have done is I have copy pasted all the tasks in one page. Can you see? Oh shit, man, what happened? Oh God, sorry guys. Yeah, got it. So what did I did? I just copy pasted the bold portion on Scratchpad. So I did not read the requirement. Did I read the requirement? No. First, I copy pasted all of them on one page. Now I will read them properly because now they are all on one page. So I know that the first task advise on the financial and non-financial of each of the investment project. Each of the investment project. Task number 2 is proposal to establish strategy committee. Something about strategy committee. Then task number 2B is employee dissatisfaction and change process. And then risk mitigation. And then marketing methods. So do you feel that bringing all tasks on one page is more efficient? Yes or no? So that I can read all the requirements in one go and I don't forget they are visually in front of me in a consolidated way. How much time you think it will take you to copy paste the requirements on Scratchpad? 1 minute? Less than 1 minute. No, no, no. You have to be very fast. It's just copy pasting. Less than 1 minute. And the more you will practice, because we will do this when we will start our revision class, the faster you will get. Copy pasting will be 1 minute standard. Okay. It doesn't take more than 1 minute. 20 seconds per requirement, 60 seconds in total. AFIA copy on scratch pad. Is that clear? Don't be over skeptical. So guys, always use scratch pad and not the word processor. Is that clear? There is a reason why I'm saying scratch pad. So don't be over smart. So now we know the requirement. This one is something to do with in this one is something to do with investment projects. Let's identify the topic. Investment project, strategy committee. This one is employees dissatisfaction. This one is risk mitigation activities. This one is e-marketing methods. So we know the topics. Five topics were tested in this paper. Is this clear, guys? That we know the topics. Investment projects, strategy committee, employees dissatisfaction, risk mitigation, e-marketing. So now I know the topics which is tested. Now what do we do? Now let's map the requirements with the exhibits. So we have four exhibits. Overview of investment project, strategy committee, staff reaction, risk mitigation, and marketing. There are four exhibits. Do you think you are able to map or identify which exhibit will be which requirement? For example, this investment project, which exhibit is more relevant based on the names? Do you have any idea? Exhibit 1, right? Take just a minute. Hello. Sorry, guys. So investment projects, and I see the word overview of investment projects. So this one is clearly exhibit 1, right? Straightforward. Done. So I identified that for this task, we will need to use exhibit 1. What about strategy committee? Is there any exhibit about strategy committee? No. This one is exhibit 2. Amazing. What about employee dissatisfaction? Is there any exhibit talking about staff or employees? Yeah, this one is strategy committee and staff reaction. So staff means employees, right? So I think this is exhibit 2 as well. Is there any exhibit on risk management or risk mitigation? Straightforward, this one. Exhibit 3. Any exhibit on marketing or e-marketing? Marketing, exhibit 4. Done. Did you understand what I did? So let me summarize. First thing, I copy pasted all the bold requirements on Scratchpad. Then I read all the requirements and identified the keywords or the topics. Then I went through this list and cross-referred or linked with the respective exhibits. That's it. Any questions so far? Qatar is asking, is there any questions which might not have an exhibit? Yes, it is very much possible that one of the requirement may not have a direct exhibit. Very much possible. In fact, in this question, all the requirements have been exhibit. This is unusual. In most of the papers, there will be at least one requirement which does not have a exhibit. So be prepared for it. So then what do we do if there is no exhibit, guys? Any idea? Yes, then we will use the pre-scene. Okay, but I will talk about it later. Is this step clear? Is this step clear? Yes or no? I want to proceed. Yeah, okay, now. Now the last thing is, you need to decide the sequence of your answer. You need to decide the sequence of your answer. So, stupid students, idiot students will always follow the sequential flow. They will start with task 1, then they will go to task 2, then they will do task 3. Then you are an idiot or a stupid student. A smart and an intelligent student will always start with easier task first, easiest first, difficult later. Now you tell me, you want to be a stupid student or a smart student? Choice is yours. You decide. Good. But now the question is, how do you decide which one is easy and which one is difficult? Yeah. Because you just have this information, which one is easy, which one is difficult. It's a subjective thing. It will vary from student to student. It will vary from student to student, but it's very simple actually. You can decide based on topics. For example, if you have done a lot of practice on risk management, you have solved 2, 3 questions, 4 questions in your past papers, you can start with risk management. If you have solved marketing questions, 3, 4 marketing questions in your practice sessions, this will be easy for you. If you have solved board committee or strategy questions, it will be easy for you. For some of you, investment projects or proposal is easy. So it all depends. If you have done enough past paper practice, then you know your strength areas and weak areas. Some students are good in financial analysis. You can start with that if it is there. If you think financial analysis is your weak area, don't start with that. So it all depends on student to student, but it is very simple formula. It all depends on your confidence and how much topics you have practiced. Basic rule, familiar topic first. What did I say? Please write. Familiar topics first. Can you please write for me? What is the rule of thumb? Familiar topics first. Topics which are more familiar to you. You have solved them several times in past papers. Always start with that. So, any topic which is unfamiliar, you are seeing it for the first time. When do we do it? In the last. Yeah. It is possible that the examiner can ask something really out of the blue, which he has never tested in the past paper. Something is being asked for the first time, and you will say, "Oh, trick! What topic is this? I have never seen this topic." Baba, do it in the last. What about a requirement which does not have any exhibit? So in this question, all the requirements have an exhibit. That's fine. But what about a requirement which does not have an exhibit? When you will do it? Last. Last 1 hour. Do you understand? All difficult tasks, unfamiliar topics, task which does not have exhibit. Later. Familiar tasks, easy tasks, start in the start. Is the formula clear, guys? If you screw up this, then you are not fit to pass SBL. If you screw up in this, you are not fit to pass SBL. You have to start with easier questions so that you can score good marks up front. When you are fresh, go for the easier questions. What did I say? When you are fresh, go for the easier questions. I know some students, they are saying when we are fresh, go for the difficult questions. है ना? There are some students who thinks like this, that when we have a fresh mind, go for the difficult question. God helps you. God will help you. Then don't come to me. Everybody clear? No, sir. Shahabal doesn't matter. All right, enough. Choice is yours. So all this will take, and actually it takes, 7 minutes. In reality, when you will start doing past papers, all this will take not more than 7 minutes, but I have kept just in case 10 minutes. 1 more hour. Right? So is this clear what you will do in the first 10 minutes? I'm going really slow because this is really important that you will read the landing page. You will copy paste the technical requirement on the scratch pad. Then you will read the technical requirement to identify the topic. You will mention the exhibit number against the task, and then you will decide the sequence of your answer. Just a minute, guys. Sorry, guys. Normally, this will take 6 or 7 minutes. And the earlier you do it, you can start the drafting sooner, right? Okay, let's move on. So now regarding the drafting, what is the allowed time? So I follow 1.8 minutes per total marks. 1.8 minutes per total marks. Okay. This word is important, total marks. So, what do I mean by total marks? Let's open task number one. So, every task has two marks. One is this one, and then this is called the technical marks, and then followed by professional marks. Okay. So every task has two kind of marks. One is called technical marks, which is for the bold portion, followed by professional skills marks, which is 4 marks. So what is the meaning of total marks? In this question, what is the total marks? 26 plus 4, 30 marks. So I always include professional marks when I talk about total marks. So task number one is worth 30 marks. So how many minutes is allowed? So 30 multiplied by 1.8, you have 54 minutes for task number one. Let's look at task number two. Just let's do one more. Task number 2A. What is the marks for task number 2A? Total marks. It's 14 plus 4, 18. How much time for 18 marks? 18 multiplied by 1.8, 33 minutes. Is that clear, guys? So I calculate time by using 1.8 minutes per total mark. Done. So task number one was how many marks? It was 30 marks, right? So how many minutes it was? How many minutes? Remind me. 54 minutes. So in that 54 minutes, what are you supposed to do? Is it only drafting? Is it only drafting? No, you have to read the exhibit. Yeah. So it's a lot of things. So in drafting, time includes what? First of all, you need to read the requirement completely. Did we read task number one completely, or we just copy pasted the bold portion? Yeah, we just copy pasted the bold portion, right? But now we are about to draft. So you need to first read the requirement completely. And then you have to read from here till here. Is that clear? So let me just explain the requirement first. Every requirement has 3 components. How many components, guys? Quick. Every requirement has 3 components. How 3? The first component is this portion, the unbold portion. This one, unbold portion. This is called the background of the requirement. This is the background of the requirement, which will give you the context of this requirement. Is it important to read the background? Yes or no? Of course, yes. Because it will help you understand the requirement. That's the background. It will tell you the context. The second component is this bold portion. It is called the technical requirement. What is the meaning of technical requirement? It simply means what exactly are you supposed to do? What examiner wants you to do? So it says prepare a report for the board which advises blah blah blah, and this is what you need to do. This is called the technical requirement. It is worth 26 marks. And the third component is professional skills. It will tell you which professional skill you need to demonstrate. So in this case, we have to demonstrate evaluation skills by making a justified recommendation. Okay. So you have to read this, all the full requirement before you start drafting this task. How much time it will take you to read this full requirement, guys? Approximately. You have to read it properly. You have to maybe read it 2 times, 2 or 3 minutes. I know. It will take you 2 or 3 minutes to read this requirement, understand it, maybe read it 2 times. Let's say 3 minutes. Done? So the first thing is this, you have to read, it will take 3 minutes. The second thing is you will need to make the format. Is there a format required? Yes. The format is there. Prepare a report to the board. So you have to make the report format. How much time it will take you to make the format, report, to, from, subject, date, introduction, closure? I think 2 minutes. Rehab, are you serious? It will take you 10 seconds. Wow. I think it's not possible. You're just fooling yourself. Let's say 1 or 2 minutes, correct? So I will take, let's say, I will allocate 2 minutes on the higher side. Once you have made the format, you have to read the exhibit and copy points in your answer sheet. So which exhibit is this one? Which exhibit do we need to read? Exhibit 1? Yeah. So then you will have to open the exhibit and you have to read this exhibit completely. You have to understand this exhibit and you have to identify points from it. How much time it will really take you to read this exhibit and understand and gather some points? Be realistic. No, it will take a lot of time. You have to think as well, right? You have to gather your, it's just not reading. When you are reading, you have to think, you have to identify points. I think it will take you 6, 7 minutes to read and think. So I will give 7 minutes, okay, to read and think. So how many time and then you will come to your drafting, that for each point you will draft. So how many time we spend? We spend 3 minutes on reading the requirement. We spend 2 minutes on making the format. We spend 7 minutes on exhibit, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12 minutes already gone. Hmm? 12 minutes gone out of 54 minutes. So how much time is left for drafting? Now you have 42 minutes to actually type your answer. Is this clear, guys? That when I say drafting time, it is not only typing, it includes all these activities. All right, let's move on. So, guys, the allowed time was 54 minutes, right? That's the allowed time. So, you are reading, you are making the format, you are typing. Total allowed time is 54 minutes. What will you do when 54 minutes are up? Supposing your answer is incomplete. Supposing your answer is incomplete, but the time is up. What you will do? Keep in mind your answer is incomplete. Maybe you are 1 or 2 points short, but the time is up. What you will do? A lot of students are saying we will move on. But some students are saying we will complete it ASAP. What does it mean? Some students are saying we will complete it ASAP, meaning you will cross your allowed time. What does ASAP means? Once your allowed time is up and you are still incomplete, what you will do, idiots? Give me a straight answer. You have to move on. You have to leave it and you have to move on. Is that clear, guys? When I say you have to leave it means what? When I'm saying you have to leave it as soon as the allowed time is up, you have to leave and move on to the next question. Leave it means what? So at least complete that one point which you are in the middle of drafting. Do you understand that? At least complete that one particular point. Don't leave it in middle. At least complete that point and then you move on. And in the end, if you have some time left, you can come back and complete it, but not during the paper. If the allowed time is up and you still continue doing that question, that means you are now falling in the time trap. No? You remember one of the most common reason is that students are overspending the time on any one particular question, falling in the time trap. The moment you exceed your allowed time, you are falling in the time trap, and I will see you again in the next batch. Would you like that? It's extra income for me, repeat customers. No, it's very good for me. But would you like that? Would you like to pay the fees again? So, idiots better understand it and follow it. This is not negotiable. Is that clear? Is that clear? You can see how serious I am about this. So no nonsense. Good. So you have to stop drafting and move on to the next question as soon as the allowed time is up. But at least complete that one point which you are in the middle of drafting, and that's it. Now, my next question is, how do you keep track of the time? How do you keep track of the allowed time? If 54 minutes is allowed, how would you remember that at what time you need to stop? How do you track your time? Danish, idiot, how would you remember what time you need to stop? You need to calculate the time and you need to write it somewhere. No? Does it make sense? You need to calculate the time that you should stop and you need to write that time somewhere and then look at your watch. If that time is up, you need to stop. Is there a timer on your paper on the CBE platform? Yeah, there's a timer. But the stupid thing is that that timer is in reverse. It's a backward timer. So fine, you minus the time, you minus 54 minutes from the current time and you write the reverse time that you have to stop when the timer reaches there. You see, watch is not allowed. So it's up to you guys, whatever is easy for you. I don't go into nitty gritties. But the main thing is you need to note the time somewhere so that you don't forget and you stop as soon as you reach that time. How you do it, that's your thing. You can write the reverse time, you can watch the time on the clock, but you need to write the time somewhere so that you don't forget under pressure. Is that clear? Or is it too complicated for you? All right, enough. Any questions on time management? The 10 minutes reading time, what are you supposed to do? Drafting time, what are you supposed to do? When the allowed time is up, what are you supposed to do? Azim, 1 minute. All right, now let's move to linking with the exhibits. That's the second thing. You know that general answers are not acceptable in SBL. If you give a generalized answer, definitions, theoretical, bookish answers, 0 marks. All your answers have to be in the context of the scenario and the exhibit. So from where you will get information? Exhibit and the pre-scene, right? So you have to read the relevant exhibit and copy paste important information on the answer sheet. Do you understand this, guys? All my paid batch students, you are already aware of this. We have been doing this in our practice classes, right? That we read the exhibit, we identify some statement of facts, we paste it on the answer sheet, and then we elaborate on it. Supposing there is no exhibit, then where you will get your information from? Then you will use your pre-scene. Correct. If there is no exhibit, then pre-scene. Right. Supposing there is information in the exhibit, but very limited information, then from where you will get extra points? Then pre-scene, sorry, exhibit, and then pre-scene. No, Azim, what's wrong with you? Is this clear, guys? Okay. First priority is use the exhibit completely. That's our first priority. Our answers should be based on exhibits. Exhibit is our first priority to use the complete exhibit. If your answer is complete based on exhibit, then no need for pre-scene. Is that clear? If your answer is complete from the exhibit, then no need for pre-scene. Exhibit is the first priority. We will always use the exhibits first. But supposing if the exhibit is very small, there is less number of points. So we will first use the exhibit, and then for the remaining points, we will use pre-scene. First, we will consume the exhibit, and then for the remaining shortfall, we will then use pre-scene to add more points. And what scenario? If there is no exhibit, then obviously we will use pre-scene. So the first priority is exhibits first. Everybody clear? So this is the formula. So your answers will be 80 to 90% based on exhibits. If you look at your past papers, around 80 to 90% exhibits are there. And we will use the pre-scene only 10 or 20%. In case where there is no exhibit or there is insufficient exhibit, then only we use the background or the pre-scene. That's only 10 or 20%. Majority of the answer is based on exhibit. You know, some self-study students, they focus more on pre-scene. They write 40% answer from pre-scene and 60% from here. They will never pass. Make sure that your answer is based on pre-scene, majority of the answer. Sorry, based on exhibits, not the pre-scene. All right? From the pre-scene, I always prefer you use objectives, goals, any financials. So pre-scene it will tell us what is the strategic objectives of the company. There will be some financial or KPIs in the pre-scene. I always try to use these statistics when I'm drafting. It will get you extra marks. I will show it once we start doing past papers. Start your point with a statement of fact copied from the exhibit and then elaborate about its impact. Clear, guys? All right, done. Okay, so Siddharth is asking, can we use other exhibits as well? Very interesting question. Siddharth is asking, can we use other exhibits as well? Yes, it is allowed. You can use information from any exhibit, but have you read other exhibits? You might not have read them, right? Because we are reading exhibit as and when we are solving the task. So you might not know but if you find something, you can later on come back and add more points. There is no restriction. All right. Next thing is number of points. Guys, can I take a 2 minute washroom break? If you allow me, just give me 2 minutes for a quick washroom break. Just give me 2 minutes, huh? Now, another very important topic, number of points. Number of points. So you have to calculate the right number of points, meaning how many points you are supposed to write for each question. So number of points also depends on the total marks. If the marks is high, then you have to write more number of points. If the marks is low, you have to write less number of points. So it all depends on the number of marks. Again, when I say marks, I mean total marks. So this is the formula which I follow. Total marks divide by 2 minus 1. This is the formula which I follow. Total marks divide by 2 minus 1. If it is a 10 marks question, how many points are we supposed to write? 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then 5 minus 1, 4 points. Okay, straightforward. If it's a 10 marks question, you need to give 4 points. Everybody clear on the formula? If it is a 18 marks question, 18 marks, 18 divided by 2 is 9, 9 minus 1, 8. 8 points. 18 marks, 8 points. Very good. If it is a 24 marks question, 24 marks question, 24 divided by 2 is 12, 12 minus 1, 11 points. Very good. Now let me complicate. If it is a 15 mark question, odd number. So 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. 7.5 minus 1 is 6.5. So 6.5 means 6 to 7. 6.5 means 6 to 7 points, depending on your speed and time management. 6 to 7. 6.5 means 6 or 7 points, depending on your speed. If your speed is fast, you have time, you can go for 7 points. If your speed is slow, time is up, then at least 6 points. Krishna, very bad. If it is a 21 mark question, 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. 10.5 minus 1 is 9.5. 9.5 means 9 to 10 points. 9 to 10 points. Why am I getting such idiot questions? Did I mention that it is based on total marks? Total marks means technical marks plus professional marks. Don't piss me off, guys. Don't make me repeat stuff. All right? Now, 1 point means one para. Do you understand that? When I say 1 point, each point should be a separate paragraph. So if we are supposed to write 10 points, so how many paras should I expect to see? If we are supposed to write 10 points, 10 points, I'm not talking about marks. If you are supposed to write 10 points, then how many paragraphs should I expect to see? 10 paragraphs. If you are supposed to write 5 points, then how many number of points? 5 paragraphs. 5 points means 5 paragraphs. Very simple. Each point should be a separate paragraph. Do not try to mix 2 points in one paragraph. Each point should be a discrete paragraph. All right. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule. There are some exceptions. You remember sometimes the examiner says identify weakness and give recommendation. Remember we do a tabular format for this. So identify weakness and give recommendation. This is one requirement or two requirements. What do you think? Identify weakness is one requirement and giving recommendation is one requirement. So when you get a question like this, identify weakness and give recommendation. So 2 marks for weakness and 2 marks for recommendation. Is that clear, guys? These are separate points. Identifying weakness is a separate point. So 2 marks for weakness and giving recommendation is a separate point. So 2 marks for recommendation. Supposing the question is worth 22 marks. How many points will be required for 22 marks? 10 points, right? And if it's a weakness and recommendation, so out of this 10 points, you will give 5 weakness and you will give 5 recommendation. 1 recommendation for each weakness using a tabular format, 5 each. Is that clear? Okay. Now, sometimes the examiner will give you the weakness. Already it will mention the weakness in the exhibit. Supposing it's a 22 marks question, how many points you require? 10 points, right? But the examiner has given you two weakness. You just have to talk about two weakness. So how do you allocate points? So you will give 5 points for weakness number one, 5 points for weakness number two. Clear? Okay. Let's you will understand from here as well. Let's do this one. If number of slides is given in the task, let's say the examiner is saying prepare 2 slides. Okay. Examiner is saying prepare 2 presentation slides. And the total marks is 22. What you will do? How many points per slide? Let me do it for you. If the examiner is saying prepare 2 slides, how many slides? 2 slides. And the total marks is 22. What you will do? First calculate number of points. So how many points required for 22 marks? 10 points. Correct? How many slides are there? 2 slides. So then 5 points per slide. Easy now? 5 per slide. Similarly, the examiner says, explain 2 weakness. Total marks is 2 weakness. Total marks is 22. So we will give 10 points. So how many points per weakness? 5 points per weakness. Now clear? If the examiner is giving you the number of slide or the number of weakness, then you will allocate marks per slide per weakness. Okay, done. Last complication is if the task says identify reasons and give implications, mostly in a financial question, then consider 3 marks per point. So in a financial analysis question, the examiner normally says identify the reason and implication. So for this kind of question, I will follow 3 marks per point rather than 2 marks per point. All right, but main rule is this one. Total marks divided by 2 minus 1. There are few exceptions which we will practice once we start solving the past papers. Any questions on number of points calculation? You know now how to calculate number of points, total marks divided by 2 minus 1. Now the next one is length of your answer. A lot of people are saying, how much should we write? What should be the size of our point? Here, this one. Length of the point. One line for statement of fact. You know what is a statement of fact? A statement of fact is a sentence which we copy paste from the exhibit, the starting, the opening punchline. We statement of fact is from the exhibit. So statement of fact should not be more than one line. And then two or three lines on explaining the impact. So one line statement of fact and two or three lines elaborating on that point. So total paragraph should be 3 to 4 line max. Some points can be 3 lines, some points can be 4 lines. You can have a mix of 3 lines, 4 line points. Okay, 3 to 4 lines max. Max. See this word? 3 to 4 line maximum. Avoid elaborative or philosophical answers due to time restriction. If you start writing lengthy points, you will not be able to complete the paper. Ideal number of lines is 3 lines, max 4. Everybody clear on this? Okay, now we are towards the very end, last 15 minutes maximum. Another thing I want to talk about is common sense question. How much is common sense question? How much marks? What is the weightage of common sense question in your paper? More than 50%, right? So what is the technique? What is the technique which you should use when we draft common sense question? This is the strategy. Before you start drafting, pause for 30 seconds and think and gather your points mentally. That's a very effective technique. Because it's a common sense question, you need to think, right? But I know that many students, they just start typing and drafting immediately. You can't do that in a common sense question. If you know it's a common sense question like a proposal, then you have to give yourself some time to think. Once you have read the exhibit, pause. First, think 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, if required, 40 seconds. Think, gather your points mentally. Once you are mentally, you have gathered few points, then you start drafting. Give a gap between reading and drafting, a pause. You will see that suddenly your mind will start working and performing. Is that clear, guys? We will apply this when we will be drafting our past papers from next week. And also, this will help. Imagine yourself like a CFO or a business leader. When we are doing common sense question, don't think like accountants. Think like a business leader. If it was your business, what you would have done. And then, of course, extensive practice from past papers. Clear how we handle common sense question? Main technique is pausing and thinking, then drafting. All right. I think it's the last one. Yeah, it's the last one is bouncer question. What is a bouncer question? That's my word, okay? I use this word bouncer question. A bouncer question is a question which goes above your head. A bouncer question is a question which you have no idea. It just goes above your head. And you will say, oh shit, what the hell is this? That is a bouncer question. Should we do it in the start or should we do bouncer in the end? What do you think? In the end, yes. Even if it is task number, what if it is what if it is task number 1A? Then when do we do? It is task number 1A, the very first task. Doesn't matter. I will do it in the last because it's a question which I have no clue. I have no idea. So Abdul Rahman is saying, what if we leave this task? What if we don't do it at all? Do you know my answer, Abdul Rahman? I will see you again. Repeat customer. You see, we cannot leave any requirement blank. Do you understand that? We cannot leave any requirement blank. Unfortunately, we guys, can you stop making idiotic comments? Especially, I know these names. I think you are new students. I have zero tolerance for stupid commenting. We have to attempt every question in SBL. It's mandatory. If you leave the bouncer question, you will not pass. So we cannot leave anything blank. We have to write something. Okay? All right. Now, what is an example of a bouncer question? So, number one, there might be no exhibit. When there is no exhibit, then it becomes difficult, right? I know we can use pre-scene, but I don't know how much we can use pre-scene. Maybe there is no information in pre-scene. So that's the first sign of a bouncer question, that there is no exhibit. That's a red flag. Then any question which does not have an exhibit, I will push it to the last. Is that clear? That's the first red flag, that there is no exhibit. If there is exhibit, then not a problem. I will read the exhibit. I will try to write something. But if there is no exhibit, that's the first red flag. Secondly, another red flag can be it's a weird topic. It's a very weird topic which you have never heard. So sometimes, the requirement can be very weird, very out of blue. Even if there's an exhibit, you don't have any idea or any concept about that topic. Possible, right? Last 1 hour. Then there are a couple of topics. There are 3 topics which are very slippery. There are 3 topics which are very slippery. I will always do them in the last 1 hour. I'm not saying last question, but last 1 hour. What are those 3 topics? Please write them. Culture, change management, integrated reporting. These are the three topics which are very slippery, which are very subjective. Sometimes there is limited information in the exhibit. Do it in the last 1 hour. First 2 hours, try to secure marks from easy question. Last 1 hour, difficult questions. So what are those three topics? I will repeat: culture, change management, and integrated reporting. Clear? Culture, change management, and integrated reporting. So if you look at this paper, all the tasks have exhibit, correct? There is no task without exhibit. So, okay. But I see a question on change management. Can you see a question on change management? Do you see the word organizational change process anywhere? Here, this task. How it may impact upon each stage of the organizational change process. So change process is change management, right? So even though there is an exhibit, I will do this question towards the last because this is a slippery topic. Risk management straightforward, marketing straightforward, strategy committee straightforward, investment project straightforward. But this one, change management, I will do it in the last. Clear, guys? It's all part of your planning. Now, once you identify a bouncer question, what do you do? What will be your strategy? Number one, attempt this question in the last. Correct? And then this one is try to use information from pre-scene to write few points. But this one is important. Do not use the entire time. Do not use the entire time for that question. Supposing this one is called 15 marks question. Okay. What is the allowed time for 15 marks? Allowed time for 15 marks? 27 minutes, correct? And how many points am I supposed to write for 15 marks? 15 divided by 2, 7.5, 6.5, 6 to 7. But if it is a bouncer question, I will consume 50% of the time. And I will write 50% of the points. So what is 50% of the time? So instead of 27 minutes, I will consume, let's say, 15 minutes. Round figure. So I will not use 27 minutes. I will spend 15 minutes. Is that clear? I will only spend 15 minutes instead of 27 minutes. Why? Why? Why am I spending just 15 minutes and not the full time? Exactly. Why should I waste my time on something which I don't know? You know? And what is 50% of the points? Instead of giving 6 to 7 points, I will just give 3 points. Is that clear? So I will spend 15 minutes and I will just try to come up with 3 points. So now what do I do with the remaining time? So I have saved 12 minutes. What do I do with this time? How can I utilize this time? Yes, I can go back and add more points in easier questions. Remember, there might be a question which you left incomplete because the allowed time was up. है ना? There will be an easy question which you left because of time was up. Go back, complete those easy ones. At least you will get short marks there. You understand my approach? Our whole objective is to score marks, right? So utilize only 50% of the time in bouncer, save few minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, go back to the easier questions, incomplete questions, and you can add more points. You will get short marks there. Guys, this is all part of being smart. If you are not smart, if you are not cunning, I will see you again. SBL is all about smart planning. It's not about hard work. It's not SBR or AAA. That is why I'm saying SBL is very, very different. It is testing your smartness. If you are not smart, if you are not able to plan, if you're not cunning, you are not a good CFO and you will be my repeat customer, yeah, which I don't want. All right, guys, done for today. Yeah, we are done for today. So we covered a lot of things today, guys. We did a lot of important things. We spoke about all the formats. We spoke about all the professional marks. But most important, we spoke about the exam techniques, time management, number of points, how to handle common sense questions, how to handle bouncer questions. This is all easier said than done. We will apply all these things in our practice sessions starting from Tuesday. Because the more you will practice, the more it will get into your habit. All right, guys, when is our next class? It's tomorrow, same time like today, 6 p.m. Dubai time. Okay. If you have any questions from today, please hold on to it. Please note it somewhere. And tomorrow we will have a lot of time for questions. Okay. Today, just digest, just relax, just process today's discussion. And any doubts, I will cover tomorrow. We will have ample time. All right. So see you guys tomorrow. Take care and good night.